This is not about status, but about structure. Councillors play a vital role in grassroots legislation, oversight, and community representation, making them legislators at the local government level. And to elevate this office, we must clarify and dignify it. I therefore urge this gathering, especially the Delta State House of Assembly, to consider constituting a committee to deliberate and recommend a title that reflects the true unique role of councillors within our democratic system. Equally, sir, there is a flawed perception that councillorship is merely an empowerment program. This notion undermines the dignity and purpose of our office. Councillorship is not a token of political loyalty. It is a legislative and oversight responsibility rooted in service, accountability, and representation as we are elected members. Using it to empowerment diminishes its value and stifles its true potentials. Councillors must be recognized and supported as watchdogs, policy shapers, and voices of the people, not as beneficiaries of political favor. To my colleagues, let me appeal to all of us. Councillorship should not be seen or treated as a mere means to an end, simply an empowerment scheme. Councillorship is a platform for leadership development, service delivery, sacrifice, and capacity building. The manner in which we carry ourselves honorably and responsibly will determine how much value we bring to our constituents and how much respect the institution of the councillorship commands in polity. Your Excellency, sir, it is with this conviction that informed the decision of the Delta State Councillors Forum to embark on a statewide legislative tour from January 2022 to February 6, 2025, covering Delta, North, Central, and South. In the course of this tour, the leadership further emphasizes the urgent need for councillors to uphold sound legislative practices and to foster a spirit of unity by building strong working relationships first among themselves and also with the executive arm for sustenance of peace, stability, and effective governance at the council level. Doing this unprecedented engagement with all 25 legislative chambers in Delta State, pressing issues affecting councillors were laid bare, with the hope that through collaborative efforts and responsive leadership, solutions will be advanced. Your Excellency, sir, among the critical issues that were raised are as follows. One of those issues that were raised, common among all 25 local government councils, was the issue of councillors' welfare. Councillors are the first point of contact for the people, daily carrying their constituent burdens, ranging from community disputes to survival needs. Yet, without a welfare framework that recognizes this reality, councillors are overstretched and unable to serve effectively. Improving welfare is therefore essential to empowering councillors to meet the demands of our community. Your Excellency, sir, the number two issue is the issue of mobility for oversight functions. The legislative mandate of councillor includes oversight of local projects, schools, health centers, community infrastructure. To fulfill this role, councillors require official mobility vehicle to go about their official duties. Most times, councillors are compelled to carry out their oversight functions under the scorching sun or in the rain, a situation that undermines both efficiency and dignity of service. Providing vehicles, therefore, is not a luxury, but a necessity, an essential step towards transparency, accountability, and effective representation. Number 3 issue that was raised was the issue of salary review. Your Excellency, sir, prior to 2018, councillors earn more than they currently do. The downward adjustment was made in response to economic realities at that time. However, today, under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the people-oriented governance of our governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori, the economy shows signs of improvement, great improvements at that. Yet, this has not reflected in the councillors' enumeration. We therefore appeal as councillors to you, Your Excellency, sir, for an upward review of councillors' salary, or at least a reversion to 2018 pre-2018 rates in order to restore dignity to the office and enable councillors to discharge their duties effectively. Number 4 issue, sir, as it was raised when we went for our visit, the provision of constituency projects. The provision of constituency projects as of now today in Delta State. We want to acknowledge on behalf of the councillors with appreciation that some local government chairmen have already mobilized councillors for constituency projects in their various wards, and so we want to appreciate them. However, for greater impact, we humbly appeal that this be institutionalized and made a yearly practice by granting councillors annual constituency projects and funding them accordingly. This way, development will spread more evenly across wards, bringing governance closer to the people and making its impact more visible. The number 5 issue is the issue of tenure elongation, sir. As earlier stated, the Supreme Court declared unequivocally that councillors and local government chairmen are entitled to 4 years in office, aligning their tenure with that of state and federal. We humbly appeal to you, Your Excellency, sir, and the honourable members of our State House of Assembly to domesticate and implement this judgment in Delta State. Doing so will strengthen the independence of the local legislature and secure stability in grassroots governance and protect the mandate freely given by the people. Your Excellency, sir, councillors are the bridge between government and the people, strengthening their welfare, providing mobility, official cars for them, for oversight functions, salary review, the security of their tenure, and access to constituency projects translate directly into more effective governance at the grassroots. We therefore humbly and respectfully appeal that under your compassionate and inclusive leadership, these 5 pressing issues be given urgent and favorable consideration. Your Excellency, sir, on behalf of the Delta State Councillors Forum once again want to welcome all distinguished guests and participants to this symposium. May today's deliberation light the path for a stronger and more united and impactful grassroots governance in our beloved state. Before I leave the stage, please permit me, Excellency, to appreciate the Honorable Commissioner for Chieftaincy and Local Government Affairs for his continuous guidance and support to the Delta State Councillors Forum. We are grateful, sir. Thank you for the once again, thank you all, and God bless Delta State.
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, I need to let them know that if it is by making laws, we already have at the national distinguished senators. We have the honorable members of the House of Reps. At the state level, we have the House of Assembly, and they are called honorables. So now they look for another name. I'm taking my councillor. We do for now. Now go cotton. And they tell them not to. Thank you. Put your hands together for your leader. Your Excellency, sir, I have the singular honor to bring up, in his own right, as a former councillor. He rose and became a member of the Delta State House of Assembly. Thereafter, by divine providence, Mr. Speaker, it is still on record that is the longest serving speaker that Delta State has produced. And by the grace of God, our governor today, a grassroots man who understands the plight of the grassroots. It is on this note, I want us to all rise and welcome His Excellency, Right Honorable Elder Sharif Francis Omowedo JP, Governor of Delta State.
Please sit down, please sit down, please sit down. Please sit down, please sit down. Please sit down, sit down, sit down, please sit down. Thank you very much, thank you very much. Your Excellency, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, immediate past Governor of the state, keynote speaker of today's program, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Dennis Me, who is here represented the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Ato. The rep of the distinguished Senator Ede Dafmune and National Assembly members, principal officers of the National Assembly, members of the National Assembly, members of the State Council, Secretary of the State Government, Head of State, Chief of Staff, Chief Advisor, other special advisors here, local government chairmen that are here. Let me especially recognize Chairman of Agon, Honorable Zaya Isora. Chairman and members of the Commission, Board of Agencies, leaders of the legislative arms, being led by the Chairman, Councillor Samuel Otempo. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you here today with a sense of appreciation of the pivotal role local government play celebrating grassroots development and deepening our democracy. I am particularly impressed with this laudable move by the Delta State Councillors Forum to initiate this dialogue. The theme for today's discourse is most apt this defining moment of our country's democracy. With the local government councils now enjoying full financial autonomy, courtesy of the landmark Supreme Court judgment, it is expected that development at the grassroots will be enhanced, unhindered by political interference and administrative bottlenecks. It also means that the elected local government council chairmen and their councillors will have no excuse, no performance. Before I proceed to declare this symposium open, I want to take a minute to recognize and celebrate the guest speaker and the discussants at this forum. The weight of knowledge and experience of the array of speakers and discussants today is a proof of the seriousness that the organizers attach to this program. When the subject matter is grassroots development, there's no better person to speak on this issue more than His Excellency Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, CON. He is a consummate grassroots politician and local government administrator. Very experienced, very articulate, man with few words, and a mentor. I mean also to recognize Gary Consulting Association for their willingness and commitment partner with the State Councillors Forum to organize this program. And to all the stakeholders and invited esteemed guests present here, highly appreciated. I know the lead speaker and the discussant will do justice to the topic of the day. But I want to say, when you are given a position to do something, do what concerns you. The MC, Pastor Powell, doesn't have my mandate to speak because I'm the only one who can respond all the minute past governor. So for him to talk here, he only needs to just introduce us, just for the case of next time. I know His Excellency Senator Ifeanyi Okowa will dwell on some of the issues that is being raised, and also in the law, the local government law in section 41 and 42 that concerns the functions and responsibilities of the councils. in line with the Delta State Law 2017 as amended. Nevertheless, you can only measure your successes or achievement against the mandate as contained in this law. I must acknowledge that many of our councillors are doing very well. Even with what you have done today, to come together and to organize this symposium shows that people know what you are doing. In recent months, we have commissioned some legacy projects, and there are many others yet to be commissioned. I commend the chairman, councillors, and staff of respective councils for their dedication to duty and commitment to the welfare of our people. As the third tier of government closest to the people, the success of councillors contributes to the success of the state and federal government. However, I must say there is still room for improvement. You will recall that during the inauguration of the new council chairman in July 2024, I emphasized on the need to formulate and implement programs to address the recurring problems of poverty, employment, and environmental decay. Our communities, especially our urban centers, can wear better faces while maintaining proper waste disposal and rules and digital habits. Councils should also embark on aggressive public enlightenment campaigns to sensitize our people. Let me also address the issue of security in our local government areas. See, some of the chairmen are here. I know some of the chairmen are here, so I want to also state it. That in our local government, the chairman and the councillors in the ward have a role to play. Because security issue is a shared responsibility. So if you hold your wards very well, and you hold the council very well, you know, the security challenges will reduce. So it's like some areas, what happens in some local government, some of the chairmen are not proactive enough. Because if you work with your councillors, there will be a lot of information that you will gather. During your security council meeting in your local government, during the security council meeting in the local government, be able to know how to discuss with the security agencies. When they come out with some issues, we know how to respond. Not only just hearing from them and without having first-hand information. So it's something that we also, chairmen, need to look into. The town hall meetings is very important. Very soon, I will continue with town hall meeting by early next year. To see how I can engage with each of the local government to know the things we have done, and the things we have not done, and the things we are going to do. I'm listening to the presentation by the chairman of the Delta State Councillors Forum. First, let me address the issue of the salary issue. As some of you may not know, I want you to know today that Delta State, there's no state in Nigeria that have the kind of salary structure we have today. There are some places they pay special advisors 300,000, 200,000, they pay them. You can find out. Our special assistant receives 250. Outside interest, and you get 100,000. Our councillors today receive 370,000. And this issue of reducing the salary wasn't done because the state want to do it. It was queried by Auditor General. It was not in line with RAFAC. So some of this you state so I can understand. And then I was a speaker. And we did it. So you must do things in line with the RAFAC. So it's not issue of that the state reduced or what. No, it was queried. And when there's query like that, you need to respond. And that was what led to that reduction. And also, it was also a benefit for councillors. Before councillors will finish their tenure, their severance, they will not get it. They will be dragging for severance 1 year, 2 years. And if you look at that law, if you look at that, what we did there was that after 18 months, you start receiving part of your severance. By the time your tenure runs out, they will know the local government will not be owing you anymore. Those are some of the benefits that is. So sometimes, you know, as a lawmaker, you know that be senior councillor now. I mean, so on the issue of, you talked about the issue of mobility. Issue of mobility, I will agree with you that in each council there should be a vehicle platform to go for oversight. Because when I was a councillor, we had station wagon 504 that we used for inspection, and then I was supervising councillor for works. At that time, you must be a councillor to be a vice at that time. So I agree with you that a council that have money can at least make a vehicle available. If you can give your leader vehicle, you give your HDM, you give your TLG vehicle, there's no reason why you will not give councillors one vehicle for oversight function. It now becomes a pool car. Listen, people should listen. No councillor, I will tell you the truth here. You know me, I always tell you the truth. Not to just come here. I came here because I want to speak to you. So you don't expect that a councillor, they should buy a vehicle for councillor. There's nowhere in Nigeria. There's nowhere in Nigeria. So don't deceive the public. Listen. You have to listen so that you can understand. So that's on the issue of vehicle. Ordinarily, I would just speak here and go, but I won't do that because I was once a councillor. So then, consistent project. I've spoken to chairmen that want to listen because some of you will just go, you are doing project, you are not carrying your councillor along. It is wrong. It is very, very wrong. You must carry your councillors along. There must be something. I told Agor chairman here. I said, look, in your meeting, tell your chairman to at least have a consistency project in each of the wards. And with that, they will have something to say in their ward. How much? We are doing project of how many? Almost 1 billion. What stops you not to give out of that money to give projects, consistency project to councillors? Because they are there to represent the people. So on that issue, Agor chairman, I'm directing you today that the council that are very buoyant, they should carry their councillor along and see they can provide consistency projects to them. On the issue of tenure allocation, well, we have a law. I won't speak on outside the law because anything I'm saying will not make any sense. So we'll look at what you have, your request on the Supreme Court judgment. We need to look at it again. Look at it very well again. And when we look at it, we'll see what we can do. But I want to tell you something. It is only in Delta State in Nigeria that the government don't interfere even before the Supreme Court judgment, and we don't even take local government money to do anything. It's only in Delta. Before the Supreme Court judgment, ask all the chairmen, we augment with 100 something million every month. It was after the Supreme Court judgment, carry your load. I say you carry your load. Started carrying their load. That was what happened. And that Supreme Court judgment is in the state favor because we're already practicing it. So what I want to say here is that I want to commend the Delta State Councillors Forum for putting this together. In conclusion, let me charge the local government councils on the need for civility and decorum in the collection of taxes and levies. The personnel for this assignment should be well trained, enlightened, and responsible men and women who will not harass our people and take the law into their hands. While wishing you all a very fruitful celebration, it is now my pleasure to declare this symposium open to the glory of God and the benefit of the state. God bless Delta State. God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please, let's put our hands together. His Excellency, the Governor. Thank you. Please, Your Excellency, sir, thank you very much for that wonderful speech. With a kind permission, Your Excellency, thank you very much, Your Excellency. May I now invite the chairman of this occasion. The leaders on this, the 25 leaders on it. Only the leaders, the 25 leaders.
How you doing?
Something please. Please, let's settle down. Let's settle down.
Okay, just we are not going.
Dearly beloved councillors, let me profusely tender an unreserved apology to every one of you, and also apologize that I shouldn't have said anything. May I, at this point, invite my colleague, Sami Fijoku, to do the needful.
Thank you. Your apologies are accepted. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, where is the chairman of the Delta State Councillors Forum? Please come and take your seat so that we can. And let's minimize the movements, please. Might interest you to know that His Excellency Senator Dr. Arthur Ifanyo-Kowa, CON, the immediate past governor of Delta State and keynote speaker, is still seated. So please, let's accord him that respect by settling down quickly so that we can face the business of the day. Let's say the chairman, please sit down.
Come this way.
All right, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and now for his remarks, the chairman for this symposium, Mr. Speaker, the Right Honorable Dennis Imomotibi-Gowo, ably represented by the Honorable Deputy Speaker. Let's invite the Right Honorable Olorogun Arthur Agbo. Please, a big round of applause for him as he comes forward.
Your Excellency, distinguished Senator Dr. Ifanyo-Kowa, keynote address for today, recognize you, sir. Let me stand on already established protocol by Mr. Powell. I'm here representing my boss, Mr. Speaker, and I have a speech which I want to read. Remark by Right Honorable Gowo Imotumi, then the Speaker of the National Assembly, at the symposium organized by the Delta State Councillors Forum in partnership with Gary Consulting Associates Limited. His Excellency the Governor has just left us. The Deputy Governor is not here. Our immediate past Governor is here with us. Governor has spoken talking about his grassroots understanding and orientation as the former council chairman, honorable commissioner here present, the chairman of Delta State Councillors Forum, members of the Councillors Forum, invited guests, and let me recognize the leader of the house and my dear colleagues who are here with me, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege to stand before you today on behalf of the Speaker of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Gowo Imotumi Dennis.
at this Councillors Forum in partnership with Gary Consulting Associates Limited. The Speaker and members of the House extend their warm greetings and felicitations. Mr. Speaker would have loved to personally deliver this remark, but is unavoidably absent due to previous scheduled legislative engagements. The theme of this symposium, repositioning the grassroots, strengthening local governance for sustainable development in Nigeria in the spirit of local government autonomy, is both timely and highly relevant. It captures the essence of true democratic governance, bringing government closer to the people and the grassroots, and ensuring inclusiveness, which is an essential tool for driving sustainable growth at that level. As the top tier of government and the closest to the people, the local government system is constitutionally mandated to play a critical role in service delivery, community development, and participatory governance. For Nigeria to experience true and sustainable development, local government structures must be therefore repositioned and strengthened as the foundation upon which state and national progress rest. Local government autonomy is not merely a constitutional aspiration, it's a democratic necessity. In this regard, I commend His Excellency the Governor of Delta State for his unwavering commitment to purposeful governance and development at the local government level under the renewal for more agenda. Under his leadership, the state government's investment in infrastructure, empowerment scheme, and community development have created an enabling environment for local government to thrive and deliver the dividends of democracy to our people. As senior colleagues to elected councillors in the legislative arm of our local government, the Delta State Assembly remains committed to enacting laws and providing the necessary guidance and support to enhance their legislative input for effective governance and the grassroots. On behalf of the Speaker, I assure you that we will continue to partner with the state government to promote local government autonomy and ensure that councillors' true voice of the people at the grassroots are well positioned and adequately equipped to discharge their constitutional responsibility. Let me say this. We heard one of the requests from the chairman of the Councillors Forum when he talked about tenure elongation. He made a request and appeal to the state government and the House directly. We are aware of the judgment of the Supreme Court, which emphasized the need for local government elected officials to have 4 years tenure. But like His Excellency the Governor just said, we have a local government law upon which the chairman and councillors were elected, and the details of that local government law is very clear. It's 3 years mandate. But the Supreme Court has spoken. It's the highest court of the land. There's no other court that we can appeal to. So in due time, as a very vibrant house, we will see the possibility of aligning our law to conform with the judgment of the Supreme Court. I can assure you on that. Let me continue with the speech. I also commend the Delta State Councillors Forum for convening this symposium at this critical time. It provides a veritable platform for idea sharing, collaboration, and consensus building. I believe that the deliberations here will yield innovative solutions and strategies to further empower elected councillors to work in synergy with local government leadership and align with the developmental agenda of the state government, leveraging the benefit of local government autonomy. In conclusion, it is my earnest expectation that we all work together to strengthen democratic structures at the local government level and place them on a stronger pedestal to drive meaningful and sustainable development at the grassroots. As leaders and stakeholders in every stratum of government, may God grant us wisdom to lead, strength to serve, and grace to promote the common good for the benefit of our people at the grassroots. Thank you and God bless you all. Right Honorable Motinubu Dennis, Speaker, Delta South Assembly, presented by Honorable Senator. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and Chairman, for this symposium. Your Excellency, without wasting time, we're going to take just two goodwill messages, very, very brief, before we go straight to the very business of the day, the keynote lecture. I'd like to invite first, in no particular order, the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. Let's welcome Prince Kelly Pinau. Please, a big round of applause for him. Of course, standing by after him will be the Chief of Staff to Senator Ede Tafinone.
Your Excellency, Governor His Excellency, the immediate past governor of Delta State, my boss, Senator Ato Ifayokoa, members of the Executive Council, members of the State Executive Council, members of the Delta State House of Assembly, Mr. Speaker, please let me by Deputy Speaker, Chairman of Council, Chairman, Councillors here present, permit me to recognize our panelists that is calling our call this week 24 hours. So, Philip, MNI, former head of service, Professor Organello, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Dennis University, Sabah, Professor Binsfield Okereka of Delta State University, Abaca. I want to stand on the simple. I am honored to extend my good message to these current educated councillors and clerks who are passionate about shaping the future of legislative landscape in local government councils. This, I believe, will foster insightful discussions, knowledge sharing, and collaboration among the participants. As leadership has to do with emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and collaboration, which aligns with the state government's more agenda. I therefore commend the organizers for their tireless efforts in bringing together stakeholders to deliberate on regionalism in the area of legislative functions at the grassroots. The experience will no doubt enrich the understanding and inform participants' actions. While appreciating His Excellency, the Governor, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Borowiri, for creating the enabling environment for this program to hold, I wish you all a productive celebration and meaningful interaction. Thank you and God bless you.
That's Prince Kelly Pinau, Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, himself, three-time local government chairman. Good morning. Twice elected and once transition. Please, let's appreciate him one more time. Next, I'd like to invite the distinguished Senator Ede Tafinone, representing Delta Central. The Red Chambers of the National Assembly is here ably represented by his Chief of Staff. Let's welcome Olorogo Adelabu Bojo Esquire. Please, a round of applause for him. Please, let's minimize the movements, please. This is a symposium, it's a talk shop. Let's minimize the movements. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here to bring a golden message from the most distinguished senator representing the wonderful people of Delta Central Central District, Senator Ide Safenoni. Your Excellency, sir, former governor of Delta State, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. I understand on the existing protocol. I recognize the leadership of the State House of Assembly and the members. I recognize the leadership of the Councillors Forum. Having said that, I want to proceed with a goodwill message from the Senator. As you all are aware, the topic for today is very, very hard. Repositioning the grassroots, strengthening local government for sustainable development in Nigeria in the way of local government. You see, we have always made use of the word, the term, every politics is what? Is local. And if you keep singing the word that every politics is local, and you don't do anything to sustain that word, then you have not been truthful to yourself. If you look at the political life, democracy started from the grassroots. If you are in politics and you don't believe in the sustenance of the local people, the grassroots, I wonder where your political journey will take you to. So, I want to see that everybody, all of us, every politically conscious person, boy or girl, man or woman, to be conscious of the fact that we must do everything humanly possible to assist the grassroots. And who are the drivers of the grassroots? The drivers of the grassroots are the councillors. They are the councillors. The councillors drive the grassroots. So, everybody should take it up upon himself or herself going forward that everything that we need to do must start from the grassroots and giving our all support, measurable support to the grassroots to make sure that we can grow our democracy. No democracy can survive without the grassroots. And councillors, being the drivers of the grassroots, must be pampered. They talk about welfare. Yes, it takes a man who is well fed, who is well cared for, to carry out a reasonable assignment. So, if we know the importance of the grassroots, we must do everything humanly possible to make sure that councillors are properly taken care of. I will join to plead with all our chairmen that going forward, every local government should provide councillors vehicles for their inspection. And if the councillors, you believe the shout is not being listened to, please let the cry get up so some of us can hear. When we hear, we come back, we meet Mr. Governor, we meet Mr. Commissioner. By so doing, I think we'll be able to put some things together. So I quite agree with you that we need to strengthen the local grassroots system, and we'll continue to do everything humanly possible to make sure that the grassroots is well positioned for democratic activities. God bless you all as you have put this together. Continue to think about better ways and more to do. We support you, we continue to support you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, sir, we like to apologize. It was a slip on our part that the Alcon chairman ought to have spoken first before the local government, chairman for local government and the distinguished senator. We apologize. Now that I have apologized, I'd like to respectfully invite the chairman Alcon, Okakuru, Honorable Isaiah Swan, Chairman Open Local Government, and Chairman Alcon. He is the chairman of the government. We're not going to come for Alcon. Chairman of the Wakana, road in the road. There's a high chief, Okakuru.
Your Excellency, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Ato Kowa, former governor of Delta State, the representative of the Speaker, Delta State House of Assembly, please permit me to stand on the existing order of protocol. Today, I want to commend the Councillors Forum, Delta State Councillors Forum, for this symposium. I'm very happy that the governor is here, the governor was here, and the way he addressed every one of us on how to move the state forward. Councillors, they are grassroots mobilizers. I want to ensure you that you all to work with your chairman closely. It's not by fighting. The chairman, they are your brothers. They are from your state. They are from your local government. They are not outsiders. If you have anything to tell them, you know their house, you know their office, go to them and put it right. Don't go by agitation. Don't go by mercy, you hear this, you hear that. You should be able to ask questions before you ask, before you act. And as councillors, let your people know you in your various world. Let them know you in your various world. Don't be councillor from afar. Be closely with your ward. Go to your ward meeting. Attend ceremonies. Go to your ward meeting. Attend ceremonies. Work closely with your people so that they will know you. Don't be councillor that live in another local government and you are representing your local government. Represent your ward well so that the people will enjoy the dividends of democracy. Thank you and God bless.
I'm going to clap for our country. You know, say today, a much time, I beg you, forgive me. Oh, no, forgive another person. Your Excellency, let me bring up my brother Sami Fuka.
You have been forgiven, Paul. No fear. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me now to specially recognize and welcome a man who, after carving a niche for himself in his chosen field of medicine, he offered to serve the people and humanity. He started off as secretary of Ika Local Government Council in the defunct Bendel State and rose to become the first elected chairman of Ika Northeast Local Government Council on the creation of Delta State in 1991. A higher office came calling when in 1999 he was appointed a commissioner and member of the Delta State Executive Council, and then secretary to Delta State Government. Fast forward to 2011, he went on to represent Delta North Senatorial District in the Red Chambers of the National Assembly. And then in 2015, he was overwhelmingly elected to the topmost office of the state as governor for a record 2 terms. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome His Excellency Senator Dr. Arthur Ifanyokoa, CON, immediate past governor of Delta State, and our keynote speaker, Your Excellency, sir.
Please sit down. First, before I go to my speech, I want to truly congratulate the Councillors Forum, as led by their chairman, for this very, very important thing that they have done in this state. It sets a model that other successive administrations at the council level will follow. And I thank God that God touched your heart to come together. And not just coming together to party, but you thought that the best thing for you to do was to bring yourself to have a closer examination of what ought to be at the local government council level. And I truly thank God for the life of the chairman, the leader of Morisa, who is the chairman of the Councillors Forum. And I thank all of you for coming to this event. When you are constructive, especially as young people, you find that you're setting a new pace, and that will earn you respect. And it will earn respect not just to your offices, but it will earn respect to all young persons who are aspiring for the future. So you set a mark, you set the ball rolling. It's my prayer that God will help you as you move forward. May God bless you. Your Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, who just left us because he has some other assignments, the Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly here, represented by the Deputy Speaker, the representative of the Senator representing Delta Central in the Red Chambers, please permit me to observe all other protocol. I wish to extend my felicitations to our councillors for inviting me to give a talk on the occasion of the congregation of this forum in Delta State with other critical stakeholders in attendance. I do join the councillors to welcome all guests at this all-important event. I'm honored to share my views on the topical issue of autonomy in our local government system. There have been different views expressed on the inadequacy of performance at this level of governance. And many academics have in their studies postulated that the lack of autonomy has hindered the progress anticipated at this tier of government.
They don't take lights.
The grassroots, strengthening local government for sustainable development in Nigeria in the wake of local government autonomy is a topic that sits at the heart of democracy, democratic and civic delivery and communities, particularly in the vast rural areas of our nation, Nigeria. Local government represents the best point of contact with many citizens of the state. The concept of local government is seen as a safeguard for the prosperous state for which the populations established by law to provide public services and regulate public affairs in every sphere of operation. This legitimacy lies in the staff to represent the interests of local inhabitants. I doubt, are we hearing at the back? It is a tier of government that is subordinate to the states and federal government and stands in a prime position to articulate and aggregate the demands of the people as a result of its proximity to the rural populace. This area of authority is delimited by the statute establishing it, and it is mandated by statute to perform certain legislative and administrative functions. It has legal authority to make policies and execute same, prepare its budgets, hire its staff, and has corporate personality. Ayo in 2019 observes that the Nigerian local government system had undergone a series of metamorphoses. He noted that the system has been structured, reorganized, and revitalized depending on the regime in power. Unfortunately, the local government system has suffered a lot because it has continued to go. The kind of administrations that we've had has gone to swing from one administration at the federal level to the other. We have not had a structured system until most recently. It is mindful to note that there were pre-colonial systems of governance in various parts of the country before 1914. The local government structure from 1914 to 1940s, which was described as colonial native authorities, depended more on the indigenous rulers and their traditions in order to administer local communities. This was because the objective then was to gain local support for economic and political gains of the colonial masters. Through the indirect rule system, political relationship was established between the local authorities and colonial governments. Various reforms aimed at improving governance at the grassroots level started in the 1950s, including the Local Government Ordinance of 1950 in the Eastern Region, the Local Government Law of 1952 in the Western Region, and the Native Authority Law of 1954 in the Northern Region. Local government reforms. In the post-colonial Nigeria, different regions were so fervent in propagating their own idea of convictions about local government councils, so that different systems of local governments operated in various regions of the country. However, the post-Civil War military rule under Obasanjo brought in the 1976 local government reform. Noting the defects in the local government administration in the foreword of the guidelines for local government reform of 1976, it was succinctly stated that the defects of previous local government systems are too well known to deserve further elaboration here. Local government councils have over the years suffered from the continuous whittling down of their powers. The state governments have continued to encroach upon what should ordinarily have been exclusive preserve of local government councils. Consequently, there has been a divorce between the people and the government institutions at their very basic levels. We will know that before the 1976 period, people were just appointed as administrators to local government councils. There were no elections as we have today. In the same guidelines to the 1976 local government reforms, local government was defined as government at the local level, exercised through representative councils established by law to exercise specific powers within a defined area. This power should give substantial control over local affairs as well as staff, institutional and financial powers to initiate and direct the provision of services and to determine and implement projects so as to complement the activities of the state and federal governments in their areas, and to ensure, through devolution of functions to these councils and through the active participation of the people and their traditional institutions, that local initiative and response to local government needs and conditions are maximized. The local governments became legal entities, enjoying certain powers above its administration, and importantly, these council members were to be democratically elected, ensuring representation and accountability. The local government reform of 1976 obviously marked a turning point in the evolution of the governance system at the grassroots level for a number of reasons. One, it was the first time in the political history of Nigeria that the local government at the center initiated local government reforms for all the states. Two, it introduced a uniform system of local government across the states of the Federation, which is very, very important. That is not the situation that we have today, because various states are running different forms of administration in their local governments. Three, the local government was officially recognized as the third tier of government. Four, staff training became an integral part of local government management strategy. Five, it introduced full-time chairmen for local governments, and supervisory councillors and councillors were paid fixed salaries instead of sitting allowances. 6. It democratized local governments across the Federation. The 1976 reforms clearly defined the structure, functions, and authority of local government councils throughout the country. Other reforms directed and repositioned the local governments for effective grassroots development include the Dasiki Local Government Review Committee of 1984, Local Government Reform of 1988, and the Local Government Reviews of 2004. The Babangida's reform sought to empower local governments to run their affairs without interference from the states. The Local Government Basic Constitutional and Transitional Provision Decree number 15 of 1989, which was amended in 1990 by decree, took the following measures. 1. It abolished state ministries of local governments. 2. Extended the presidential system of governance to the local government system, which is what we enjoy today. 3. It introduced democratically elected local government councils. It empowered local governments to make bylaws, increased allocation to local governments, and such statutory allocations were paid directly from the Federation account. I was a council chairman in 1991 to 1993. What we are talking about now in the state, we were receiving our allocations straight from the federal government and not going through any job. It granted administrative autonomy to chairmen and legislative autonomy and powers to make laws to the legislative arm. That is also very key, because the councillors have their functions, and their functions cannot be taken away from them by the local government council chairman. It established the office of Director of Local Government Audit, as well as the creation of Local Government Alarm Committee. The Alarm Committee was created in such a manner that if something is going wrong, somebody has the right to raise an alarm before the audit department. Primary health care program and primary school administrations were then also transferred to local government councils in 1990-1991. The federal government made numerous reforms in 1989 Constitution, designed to remove the inadequacies of local government administration as it appeared, as it prepared for the aborted Third Republic. In December 1990, elections were held into the local government councils in accordance with its basic constitutional and transition provision. However, part of the gains in council reforms appeared to have been harmed by the 1999 constitution, as some ambiguity and contradictions in the control and running of local government councils were introduced. The autonomy anticipated by the previous reforms appeared diminished, for example, in Section 7 at clause 1, where it states the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils is under this constitution guaranteed, and accordingly the government of every state shall, subject to Section 8 of this constitution, ensure their existence under a law which provides for the establishment, structure, composition and finance and functions of such councils. The autonomy anticipated by previous reforms was obviously not going to be guaranteed with varied state legislators, because now it threw the power to the states, and various states started making different laws. We are talking about this state now. We are making an appeal that there is a need to move from 3 years to 4 years, and I support us in line with that because of the Supreme Court judgment. But there are some states where their tenure is 2 years. In some states, they don't even know what tenure they have. In just 1 year, they are shut out of office. So how is it possible that the set of councillors and the chairman can make any plan or execute any project? In most states of the federation, what you have is probably a 1 year tenure, some are tenureless, some you have a maximum of 2 years. But consistently in this state, we have had 3 year tenures. But there's always room for improvement. We have always set the pace as a state, however. Local government autonomy. The pursuit of local government autonomy seeks to reposition the grassroots as a functional and empowered tier of government capable of driving inclusive and sustainable development. The autonomy anticipated presupposes that each tier of government must exist not as an appendage of another government, but as an autonomous entity in the sense of being able to exercise its own will in the conduct of its affairs, free from direction by another government. It's anticipated by the concept of autonomy that men and materials at the grassroots must enhance for easy mobilization for the overall development of the nation. The essence of local government autonomy is to give the rural people the self-governing powers to mobilize and administer local resources to advance development in the society from the local needs and initiatives. The drive for local government autonomy seeks to ensure direct allocation from the federation account, restorance of fiscal independence, promoting democratic governance through credible periodic local government elections that reflect the will of the people, and to enhance efficiency, transparency, and accountability at the local government level. The institutionalization of autonomy opens up transformative opportunities as it will deepen inclusive development as local governments plan specific projects in rural and peri-urban communities tailored to their needs, bridge governance gaps, and service delivery in health, education, water supply, sanitation, and rural infrastructure. 3. Strengthen democratic culture and empower citizens, providing platforms for participatory governance and civic engagement. This in itself is very important that we elaborate as we go forward. Though the 1999 Constitution as amended provided for a 3-tier system of government, in many states of Nigeria, in practice, the local governments have functioned more as administrative outposts. The recent legal and policy strides towards local government autonomy being driven by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration signals a paradigm shift. It is one that can redefine governance, equity, and participatory development at the grassroots level. However, for it to deliver on its full potential, there must be strong political will and institutional reforms and active civic participation. Whatever we're saying at the moment, now the Supreme Court was able to deliver a judgment. But we must give credit to who credit comes from. it was the government and the federation as led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that had to take the states to court on this issue for interpretation. And that was why we have been able to get a landmark judgment in which councils can now receive their allocations directly. Although it does not impact differently to us here, because all allocations we had always received without being tampered. But in many states of the federation, if you understand how they were working, you will thank God for your life. Because many states of the federation, they hardly get any money. You just probably only get monies to pay salaries and probably allowances that can just help run the council. But the system has been very different here, and to God be the glory. Key challenges affecting local government council governance. The potential of local government autonomy to positively impact inclusive and sustainable development is likely undermined by these rooted challenges. Understanding these challenges is key in any form of reform process. Such challenges include structural and legal constraints, including ambiguities in the Constitution, weak enforcement of autonomy provisions as many state governments exert control over councils through the Joint Allocation Accounts Committee and through dissolution of elected councils. Many local governments lack updated and enabling bylaws to effectively govern their jurisdiction. Poor resource mobilization and resource management. There is overdependence on the statutory allocation, and many local government councils are not able to generate internal revenue due to the politics back home and due to so many other defects and political pressures that we have. So you find that the internally generated revenue of most local government councils is actually very, very abysmal. Poor planning and budgeting, as budgets are often unrealistic and expenditures are misaligned with development priorities. There is absence of financial management tools like the medium-term expenditure framework, and I think that this is something that has to be addressed in collaboration with the state. The procurement processes are mostly opaque, and audit and financial reports are rarely published. I think that it's important that our council chairman also sit tight and look in this direction, because it will help to safeguard you for the future, because we don't know. So when in the award of contracts and whatever you're doing, normal processes must be followed. Do not believe that I'm executive chairman, therefore I can do and undo, because you run yourself into trouble in the future. Weak institutional capacity, low citizens' participation. I think we'll deal with this as we go along. Poor oversight structures. Yes, oversight structures. The councillors must be empowered by the local government, by the executive arm. They must provide enough funding for the local government legislative arm to be able to oversight functions, and they must work closely with each other. Whatever I'm saying now, I'm saying based on experiences and best practices, and I think it is something that we can all work together with. After all, we are from the same locality, and there's nothing that shuts us out from being able to discuss with ourselves. It is in the best interest, collective interest of our people. Inadequate infrastructure, there are many other details concerning that. Repositioning the grassroots, strategic imperatives. For us as a state and nation to fully harness the potential of autonomy at the third tier of government, legal and institutional reforms are imperative. Reforms must clarify roles, safeguard financial and political independence of local governments, update local laws, and strengthen existing institutions. 1. Clarifying roles. To eliminate overlap and promote synergy, there is a need to harmonize constitutional, legal, and policy frameworks to clearly define federal, state, and local government responsibilities, especially in such critical areas as education, health, agriculture, and infrastructure. And if we do not define this, many times the local governments leave the roles to the state believes that the councils are playing those roles, and in the confusion that ensues, you find that we have underdevelopment rather than having a complementary development. Because I've asked, for instance, now, how many council chairmen would have been able to visit the primary schools in their areas? How many have visited the primary healthcare centers in their areas to know exactly what they lack and what needs to be done? We cannot just leave it as if it's not part of the authority. I know that our council chairman are doing a lot better now because they have better funding. I can see some of them constructing roads, and which is very good. But as you do the big things, those very critical things that is expected to be done by you, you must ensure that it is done. And to be able to do so, you must work closely with your councillors to get enough information. As to the needs of the various wards that they represent. It is truly very important. Updating bylaws. There's a need for the provision of technical support to local governments to review obsolete bylaws and to develop context-specific bylaws in areas such as sanitation, building control in rural communities, local taxation, etc. Legislative arm should ensure citizen participation through public hearings. I'm sure that when you relate to the Delta State House of Assembly, they'll be able to brief you on what you ought to do, so that whatever bylaw you're making is well informed, is technically enriched, and it is participatory with the input of the various communities. Third, strengthening legislative councils. To ensure checks and balances, the legislative arms of the councils should be strengthened. We must build the capacity of councillors through legislative and leadership trainings. And this also impacts on the Directorate of Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. Whatever programs you're going to have for them, make sure that it is enriched. I have seen in the past, and it's very unfortunate, where seminars are just organized for the fun of it, because possibly we want to organize them. Make sure that it is enriched. Use local resource person for the purpose of impact. Like when you're going to have conferences or seminars for local government councils, the House of Assembly is there. You have people who have stayed there for several years, who can be of real impact and who have the knowledge to be able to educate properly without mixing words on what the legislative arm ought to do. There is a need for this collaboration so that our councillors are actually better informed on what they ought to do. 4, ensure financial and administrative independence. There's a need to enact and enforce laws that will safeguard the financial, political, and administrative independence of local governments, enabling direct allocation of federal allocation. We talked about this. There's a need to adherence to legal provisions regarding local government tenures, elections, and administration. The Supreme Court made some conclusions which I believe that the states are going to look into. Because a situation where a council chairman in some states of the nation will have to be in office for 1 year or even less than 2 years, or sometimes within 6 months they are removed, and you just find that there is no planning, and that is not good for governance. The governance reform. There is a need to amend all existing state laws and administrative structures that compete with constitutional provisions for local government autonomy. The 1999 Constitution has its setbacks and need to be amended. The 1989 Constitution made detailed provisions for local governments covering elections, powers, and tenures of political functionaries and local government service. This, however, were missing in the 1999 Constitution, which also has Section 162 plus 6 empowers states to maintain a special account to be called the State Joint Local Government Account, into which shall be paid all allocations to local government councils of the state from the Federation account and from the government of the state. In clause 7 it states, each state shall pay to local government councils in its area of jurisdiction such proportions of its total revenue on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly. And in clause 9, it talks about the amount standing to the credit of local government councils of the state shall be distributed among the local government councils of the state on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly. There is a lot of contradiction in this place. And I believe that with the judgment of the Supreme Court, this needs to be amended. Otherwise, we have a law, the constitution that is existing, we have a judgment that is there. So we need to quickly revisit this area of the constitution to bring everything in alignment. Capacity development and financial management is important. The building of skills at the local government council level is very important. There's a need to mainstream the sustainable development goals in our various local government councils so that they are that whatever you're doing is aimed at achieving something that is important for the local needs. So that as councils, we do not just go on to undertake projects that we just feel is important without really finding out what impact it truly makes in the communities. There's a need to digitize, and also even in terms of collection of our revenues, there's a need to look inward. There's a need to truly relate to the communities, to have the community scorecards of their needs, so that when the communities present their needs to you in terms of preference, and this is something that should be collated by the councillors in their various wards, and then presented to the council chairman. The council chairman is able to now sit down and be able to prepare a budget. So that we do not just prepare budgets and send to the House of Assembly, and many communities are excluded because we do not even have an information as to what the needs of those councils are. For effective impact, there is a need for community consultation, town hall meetings and stakeholders forum, and the need to communicate with faith-based organizations, the civil society organizations, women groups, youth groups, and traditional institutions. There is no one at that local level that is unimportant. The more you relate to them very closely, the more likely you are going to succeed. The governor talked about security concerns. If there is a close relationship between the council chairman and his councils, along with the communities, I'm sure that we'll be able to sit together to fashion out ways to truly solve a lot of our security issues, because we'll have the needed information and intelligence at the right time. And I think that it's important that there's a close working relationship between the councils and the communities. The concept of full autonomy. While the local government councils are a third tier of governance, desire substantial autonomy to deliver reasonably to citizens' needs at the very basic level. Success hinges on a whole of society approach at this level of governance, where the states, the local government councils, traditional rulers and town unions, civil society, faith and community-based organizations are an integral part of the development process, working collaboratively for the common good. In driving change and making local governments more beneficial in the area of autonomy, the multi-stakeholder approach with distinct interdependent roles will help ensure that the vision of accountability and inclusiveness and development-driven local government councils becomes a reality. The state government. It may not be possible for each local government to run its own local government service commission or its own local government audit and be fully detached from the state, as this will become very expensive and cumbersome. In Delta State, if we were to do that by giving full autonomy, we would then have 25 local government civil services and 25 number directorates of audit. It is my opinion that the Local Government Service Commission and the Directorate of Local Government Audit needs to remain as it is by law, providing the service needed for 25 local governments in order to cut costs and move the cumbersomeness. However, as per history here, the state government must assume the role of a facilitator rather than a domineering role. The state government should domesticate and enforce constitutional amendments that guarantee political, financial, and administrative autonomy to local government councils, as well as review state laws to give clarity to roles between MDAs and local government councils. Each state should establish a state economic planning board where relevant state actors and local government council officials sit together to formulate policy frameworks and develop plans for the states and local government. This will ensure policy alignment. The state should also provide needed technical assistance in planning, budgeting and continuous training and mentoring programs for the local government council staff and elected officials, traditional rulers and religious leaders. As gatekeepers of communities and custodians of trust, traditional rulers and community leadership unions and religious leaders play a fundamental role in peace building, conflict resolution and development. The elected councillors must be fully empowered to engage regularly with this leadership to provide citizens buy-in in development initiatives, tax compliance and civic duties. So it's not out of place if once in a year or about twice in a year, the local government council provides funding for the councillors to have this interaction with their various communities. Because you are not going to call elders and at the end of the meeting they just go home that way. So you provide some level of funding because through such consultations, a lot of good can come out of it, especially in building peace and ensuring that there is a cross-information between communities and the councils. Elected councillors must ensure that citizens are regularly informed about the activities of the government and be a connect in feedback to the executive arm. Local Government Council autonomy, the case of Delta State. There is no doubt that a guarantee of political, financial, and administrative autonomy at the council level would help speed up development, particularly in rural communities. If there is a whole of society approach with effective citizens engagement. Nationally, there has been reports of diversion of local government funds by state governments, dissolution and suspension of elected local government council officials by governors of state, and no fixed tenures for elected officials. Also reported is the lack of citizens' participation, as many councils are run by caretaker committees before the intervention of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Many councils fail to engage and mobilize their citizens for effective service delivery. Consequently, there is a divorce between the people and the government at the most basic level. In Delta State, however, the guarantee of autonomy has been most promising at the local government council level. Though funds are still processed through JAG, all funds due to the local governments have always been released in full, in addition to the 10% of entirely generated revenue of the state on a monthly basis. And only Delta State and a few states are engaged in this. Many states don't give anything from the entirely generated revenue to their local government councils. As reported, Delta State government is one of the very few states that directed local government councils to forward their bank details to the Accountant General of the Federation for direct release of funds as per the Supreme Court judgment. Secondly, a 3-year tenured local government council has been consistently guaranteed in practice and by law in Delta State since year 2008. Local governments in Delta State do their own planning, budgeting and implementation. They engage in policy making and project awards and implementation without interference from the state government. And this is real. So the local government council chairmen know that nobody is breathing down on them as to the projects that they do. It is important that this continues, but it's also important that the chairman relate very closely with the rest of persons at the government at that level, and very key among those are the councillors elected along with you. Elected officials run the presidential system of government with functional legislative arms and executive arm. To a very large extent, local governments in Delta State can be said to have had autonomy politically, financially, and administratively for years. The current administration of the state government under His Excellency Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori has continued to allow the financial and political independence of the councils, for which we are proud of him. Our local governments have continued to make progress due to the non-interference, and it is my hope that this will soon be the story nationally, as the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu continues to drive the project of autonomy at the third tier of government. Beyond non-interference on local government council funds allocated from the Federation account, the state government has ensured the remission of 10% of its IGR to its councils consistently. This financial and political autonomy in Delta State is not one that is enjoyed in most states of the Federation. Hence the persistent call for autonomy for local governments nationally. As we join in the call for autonomy nationally, As practitioners in the local government administration, we must be ready to play by the rules, be accountable, working collaboratively as a legislative arm with the executive arm and the communities. The executive arm must also ensure that the legislative arm of the councils are allowed to operate independently as provided for in our laws, and a deliberate effort must be made to engage the communities in our council areas actively, as council administration without meaningful citizens' participation will be dictatorial and arrogant. As councils, our roles go beyond the making of bylaws. We are expected to continually engage with the citizens we represent and be their voice in a two-way communication between the councils and the communities. Duties of councillors. As representatives of the wards in the council, we must understand our duties. We are their active link, the mouthpiece, the advocate, and feedback hotline. We must take note of this. All these are our functions, and we have to ensure that we do it right. This warrants our constant engagement as councillors with the traditional institution, with town hall unions, with women and youth groups, with religious bodies and community-based organizations. Please ensure that you do this, because you will be helping yourself in the course of time as you do this. We must keep our communities informed about the activities of the council, mediate in local disputes, help mobilize communities to support policies, programs, and projects of the councils, support civic education and public enlightenment of the citizens, and facilitate civic engagement platforms that connect citizens' voices with decision makers, which is the council. As a legislative arm, we are watchdogs over policies and programs implementation by the executive arm, and ought to ensure that some communities are not left out in our budgets. It is possible, very possible, that at the end of the tenure of a particular set of councillors, some communities may not have any project in their wards at all, and which is not right. And the best way forward to deal with this situation is to start from day one to ensure that they have constituency projects for councillors. Because in that manner, every ward will have something to speak about. In the House of Assembly, it is done, no matter how small, but make it reasonable enough so that by the time you have finished your 3-year tenure as council chairman, when you come into any community, there is something to point out, because your councillor, through his or her constituency project, has imparted on that community. Otherwise, you may do all the big projects. We have attended to probably 3 or 4 wards, and we have ignored every other ward. And there is also this tendency of council chairmen and the councils tending to do projects where they will be easily noticeable. So they go into the township, excluding the rural communities, for which reason the local government council system was created to impact on the rural areas. So always ensure that whatever you do, even when you are attending to the township, make an impact in every rural community, because it is important. And the best way is actually to collaborate with your local government councillors and ensure that you're able to fund their constituency projects. We therefore must see ourselves as councillors, as team leads in every community, not as leaders. Because when you are a councillor and you start saying, I'm the leader of this community, and the leader of this community, you have lost it, because you lose the confidence of that community. See yourself as a team lead, not a leader. A team lead is very different from a leader. So as we see ourselves as team leads, bringing everybody together in order to work together for the common good, you'll find that you'll be accepted as a proper representative. You must therefore redefine yourselves as councillors and be true representatives of your people, realizing that success requires intentional steps. You cannot succeed through making deliberate mistakes. Think positive thoughts about your future. Hold town hall meetings and seek criticisms from such meetings as bridges and not barricades to success. Some people may want, because they don't want to be criticized, they will not want to engage in such town hall meetings. It is not right. Go there. If they blame you, find a way to explain yourself. Don't be proud about it. You're learning something for the future, and you're building yourself in the heart of the people. Conclusion. There is no doubt that local government, the tier of government closest to the people, has been structurally weakened, fiscally constrained, and politically undermined nationally over the years, resulting in widening service delivery gaps and growing citizen disillusionment in rural and peri-urban communities. There is a chance to reposition the grassroots as the engine room for sustainable development as the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration drives the process of substantial autonomy and full fiscal autonomy at the third tier of government. A deliberate attempt must be made nationally, however, to redefine leadership at the grassroots, improve service delivery, and give power back to the people through citizens' engagement and participation. Autonomy demands more than just financial independence. Council chairpersons and councillors, as custodians of public trust, should uphold professionalism, ethical standards, and the development excellence. To succeed, the council administration needs strong institutions, transparent budget with citizens' input, effective service delivery mechanisms, and an effective two-way communication between council administration and its communities. Citizens must be empowered to co-create their future through regular town hall meetings, ward development committees, participatory budgetary hearings, engagement with women and youth leaders, thus ensuring a whole of society approach to governance. Development is not a solo process. Local governments must forge strategic partnership with state MDAs for technical assistance and collaboration, as well as alliances with NGOs, private sector actors, donor agencies, academia, and research institutions for evidence-based policy making. As we seek for autonomy, it is time for critical self-evaluation on the part of the council leadership, both the executive and the legislative arm, ensuring we also observe democratic norms, respect for the rule of law, and meekness in governance. We must be prepared as a nation to revisit and amend all statutes, both at the national and state, that offend the grant of fiscal autonomy and substantial political and administrative autonomy to our local government councils. We have referred to some already. We must work closely with communities, collaborating and providing support for vigilante, other community-based security groups to function adequately. We must identify the needs of the people we are elected to serve and cause their voices to be heard as far as practicable in policies, in programs, and project formulation. Your Excellency, invited guests, and my dear councillors, there is no doubt that a restructured, strengthened, and fiscally independent local government council administration nationwide will guarantee a more rapid and sustainable development at the grassroots. I must commend the Delta State government for setting the tone as our councils have continued to enjoy financial independence. We must, however, need to rework our law in order to take out any clause that may be offensive to substantial autonomy administratively. And here, I want to advise, Mr. Speaker is not here, but it's represented by the Deputy Speaker. There is something in our law that has been quite offensive. Unfortunately, during my administration, I think I just glossed over it. I did not even get to know about it until much later. There is this question where local government council secretaries are screened by the House of Assembly. I think it is not right, because you find that at the national level, even the secretary to the federation is not even sent to the National Assembly for screening, because the appointment of the secretary is like a personal appointment based on trust and somebody you think you can work with. At the state level too, the secretary to the state government his name is not sent to the House of Assembly for screening as other persons. And at the same time, the local government, the secretary to the local government ought not to be even be screened by the local government legislative arm, neither the State House of Assembly. It is an office that is specific, and there is an approach. So I think that that is one law that I believe we have to revisit administratively. In closing, I wish to advise our councillors that we need to use our opportunity wisely. Power is transient. Please take note of this. Use your opportunities wisely. Power is very, very transient and has an expiry date. It is never truly owned by any of us, but it is held for a while. We can, through our efforts, extend the period this power is lent to us by the people, if we serve them well. Whatever power you have today, being an elected person, is a will of the people lent to you to go and represent us. So do not boss over them. We must realize that we must be in constant relationship with them at that grassroots level, and that will help us to succeed. Uplift others in your way, mentor others, create platforms for communication with your people, and you will have a place in their hearts. Be true representatives of the youth, for most of you are very young. Do not ignore them because you are in office, because you can build a future. Be true representatives of the youth, and remember always that history will judge us in our very little ways. May God bless us.
Yes, let's do it one more time for His Excellency, Senator Dr. Arthur Ifeanyi Okowa. Thank you very much, sir. Your Excellency, we have from Edo State, Honorable Benjamin Osas Iradia. Honorable Iradia is the acting chairman of Ohuwode local government in Edo State. He was a councillor. By divine providence, he is the chairman of that council today. We need to acknowledge him. I'm told that he's here. Yes, please come sit at this end. Sit at the white chair. Make God to see your face. Put your hands together for him. It shows that there is hope for a councillor. After some time, when you are done, you can become the chairman, and if God willing, you can also proceed to become a governor. Now, no go say amen. Oga will just give us lecture now. Our Oga was secretary, the council, was council chairman, was commissioner, was senator, and now an elder statesman having served his 2 tenures as governor of Delta State. So put your hands together once more for our father. Your Excellency, we have a very, very rich panelists. Very, very rich. Let me invite my brother Charles, Dr. Charles Obichi, to please come forward because he will moderate this session.